standing room only. It was a crazy environment for high school sports. We had like 5 D1 starters, which for high school is crazy.
Yeah.
And the craziest part is we still lost to Hopkins.
Yeah, we're here at St. Paul Johnson with the school bell ringing. We got Mara Braun here on the Athletes in Sports podcast. Mara, Gopher basketball player from Wayzata, Team USA, and Mara just finished up her sophomore season, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So, Mara, talk to us a little bit about what we just had going on. We had a Special Olympics Unified Phi Ed class out here, and why Special Olympics? What like, do you have a history with them?
So growing up, my dad's uncle had special needs, and so he would take care of him. And I kind of just grew up around him and being around people like him. So I would go to, school with my grandma and with him, and just being in that environment, it kind of grew passion for me with just being around people that maybe don't necessarily have all the opportunities that I do. So just being able to be in classes with them. And in my high school, we had unified, just like they have here at Johnson High School. And so I think that's really cool. That's something that I've incorporated with my life. And now moving into college, being involved with it too is really special to me.
Definitely. And we just heard today, they've got 300 schools in Minnesota that have this program. When you were doing this in high school, were there a lot of other teammates that you had that joined you? Or
Yeah, so actually one of my teammates, she played at Navy, Mimi Schrader. She started the unified program itself in my school. So we got it to Wayzata. So I was able to be a part of that and to see it grow. So now it's kind of taken off. And so I joined the board of directors too, like my senior year. So that's how I got to know Zach over at Special Olympics, and being able to get that NIL deal early on with them, being able to work with them.
Very cool. Now let's take a step back a little bit. So obviously basketball is a passion of yours, but what got you into basketball at a young age?
Probably my dad and my brother. I was always in the gym growing up. My brother,
older brother,
older brother beating up on me. We were just talking about it the other day, or how many times I would just leave the backyard crying because he would just beat me up. But I just grew up around older boys, so I was able to see that, and I just loved it from an early age. And my dad played in college too, so.
Oh, awesome. What college did he play for?
Bemidji State.
Nice.
Yeah, my mom played volleyball there.
Okay. And did you, other than basketball, were you into any other sports?
Yeah, I did a few. I was a swimmer, soccer for a long time. Soccer was kind of my second sport. I started track in high school. Those were kind of the main ones. Soccer, I stopped once I got to high school. I played freshman year, and then I stopped just because my school obviously has a lot of really good Division I soccer players, and I was kind of just doing it for the conditioning and that part of it. So I stopped doing that, and then I did track, and I was a jumper. So I did that with AAU.
Okay.
Do you think there's any overlap with the other sports and how it's helped you as like a college basketball player?
Yeah, I think just the speed part of soccer and just the conditioning, that was a big part that I saw when I stopped doing soccer. I definitely saw a change in that. So I had to do a little something on the side there too. But I think that, and just constantly going, I think that's translated for my game.
Yeah. And it seems like a lot of kids these days are specializing super early in sports. What is your take on that?
I think it's just important to put your kids in like as many sports as possible, and just being able to have them try out everything. Obviously for me, my kids, one day I want to play basketball, but if that's not something they want to do, then maybe there's something else. But I think putting your kid in a lot of sports, I did a lot of sports growing up, and I think it just helped to grow my passion for basketball, and that I really knew that's the sport that I wanted to do. I think a lot of kids now are getting burnt out at such a young age.
Yeah.
And I think that's really tough, but being able to have that balance and doing all these other things, and if it's just for fun, like some of those other sports were just for fun for me, but it made me love basketball more.
Yeah, and just being a part of like teams and meeting other people and all the other things that the other sports taught you, for sure. That's what we speak a lot on too, is just the importance of trying other sports and all the benefits that the other sports bring. Obviously, being a jumper in track, that didn't hurt your basketball. So like, and then all of like the injuries that come by specializing so early too. I mean, you're going into a tough sophomore season, which we'll touch on here in a minute.
There's the dinner bell, class bell.
Yeah, we're here at St. Paul Johnson with the school bell ringing, heading to class. But I was just gonna say, we'll touch on the injury here in a minute, but just talk a little bit more about like the other sports and like the collaborativeness with other team sports and what that's taught you.
Well, the fun part of it was I did have kind of a bounce between soccer teammates, specifically soccer and basketball, but there was also overlap. So I'd have those teammates that I go from one sport to the other with. So that kind of makes it fun too. But like I said, you do have that separation, and obviously with coaches and different styles. So that's been fun to be able to keep up with them too. A lot of my past coaches still reach out from other sports. So I think it's all definitely impacted me.
Love that.
Now, talk a little bit about high school. So you're at Wayzata. How many years did you play varsity, and just what did that maybe help you with? Because Wayzata is very competitive and very, the athletics are really good, and I'm sure academically you had to stay up to date on everything. So just talk a little bit about that whole experience.
Yeah, so Wayzata is a little different. You can't play high school when you're in middle school. So I still played throughout middle school, which was a little different than some of my other like AAU teammates or people that I knew that were already playing high school. So that part was a little tough. Obviously, you want to be able to play at the next level quicker. So that part was a little tough. We did end up winning state though 8th grade year. So it made it worth it. But yeah, I got into high school and I played varsity right away, started right away. So I think that just helped to grow my game early on. Lake conference is really tough, and it just keeps getting bigger. And we joke about my Gopher team now. We have a bunch of girls from the Lake Conference, which has been kind of fun. And I've played against all of them or played with them growing up. So that part's cool. But I mean, the academic part, Wayzata is obviously a really good school. Our team GPAs have always been high. I've always done well in school and taken pride in that. My parents are just honestly big on just doing your best and just giving everything you have. So it's kind of just what I've done and gotten lucky with it, I guess.
Is there any particular part of school that you like best, like math, science, reading? Like,
I like to read a lot. I do. I like math too. I'm kind of good at math, even though I don't really like it. I'm not a numbers person like that. My dad likes that part of it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mom was a school teacher growing up. She taught 3rd grade for a bunch of years. Now she's retired. But yeah, so there's always that education part of my family.
You said get lucky with it, but I think you put in the work too.
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
One of the other things that we touched on too is the self-confidence piece. So you said that you played at Wayzata High School as an 8th grader. What did you have to do from a self-confidence piece to be able to play with the seniors? Because obviously these girls are 4 years older than you.
Yeah, we had a really good team my freshman year. We had like 5 D1 starters, which for a high school is crazy.
Yeah.
And the craziest part is we still lost to Hopkins every year. So they were just as good. Paige Beckers, obviously.
I thought we weren't going to bring up Hopkins.
I know, but it felt right.
Yeah.
I had to compare. But yeah, I mean, playing Paige Beckers and being able to get that exposure, I think that's kind of where things blew up for me, was being able to play her as a freshman and sophomore and being able to do well. I mean, we sold out like every game we had against them. So there's like standing room only. Wow. It was a crazy environment for high school sports. So yeah, crazy.
Now, why did you pick the University of Minnesota? Like, talk about that process. Were there other schools that you were interested in, or were you set on going to the Gophers from the start?
Yeah, I think there was always something deep down that I wanted to stay home and go to Minnesota. I know my mom really wanted me to, and my grandparents, they come to like every game. So they definitely pushed for that. But we just made it a kind of a thing early on that I was going to explore all my options, being able to go visit. And COVID kind of struck at the wrong time, so I didn't get to visit a lot of schools. I think I did most of mine like my freshman year of high school. So it was really early on. And then COVID kind of messed things up. There was a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of phone calls. It was just a lot different of a time. Experience. So that part was a little bit of a bummer. Obviously, we want to go and visit and see other schools and see what they're all about. But I think things worked out. I'm really happy here, being able to play in front of friends and family every night and have experiences like this where I can just come down, the road and being able to help my community. So I think it worked out.
Definitely. And talk a little bit about your Team USA experience. Like I followed you through social media. It seemed like a really
Yeah.
awesome experience.
Yeah. It was crazy. So they reached out, wanted me to come to a trial. So I went to a trial, and it was all girls. I was probably 19, 20, and there was all girls like over the age of 25, some 30-year-olds.
Wow.
Like it was, and they had all been playing forever, and it was my first time playing 3-on-3. So I was really nervous. I guess I made a good impression. So I got invited onto the team, and we went out to China and qualified for Mongolia, which then we went there and we won gold. So that was really fun.
Incredible. Gold medal wearing the Team USA jersey.
I've always said I wanted to play on the U.S. team. Hopefully one day on the Olympic team. That would be really cool. But yeah, I was lucky enough to be on a team that helped to qualify for the Paris Olympics. So they're really appreciative of that. And so that'll be cool to be able to watch them play.
Super cool. Mm-hmm. Can you feel from like a college athlete how like women's basketball has really like stepped up over the last couple of years just in like fan attendance? Talk a little bit about that.
I always say it's such a good time to be a part of college sports and going into hopefully the WNBA too one day. Just it's like perfect timing. You know, you have social media and all that part that's can be a little toxic and can be bad at times, but it also can really benefit. And I was talking about, going to the Lynx game, and there's all these little girls just screaming, like Angel Reese's names, and players like Camila Cardoso that are blown up on the internet. Obviously, you got Caitlin Clark, who's done a lot for the sport. But it's like these players and all the little kids just know them from social media and what the sport's doing now, which I think is really cool. And so continuing to build my platform and being able to have little kids looking up to me is something that I really take pride in.
Yeah. Is all the NIL stuff that you have going on, is it stressful for you to navigate academics, that, and athletics, or how have you been handling it?
It can be tough. It can be tough with the timing. For my off day, it seems like that's when I try to jam everything in. So, your off day is not really your off day. A lot of student athletes know that. So it can be tough. It can be time consuming, but you have to really know, the people you're working with and the companies and the brands that you're working with, and if they have, the best intentions for you. And a lot of them are really good about it and knowing that we're so busy. But it's fun and it's worth it for me when I can come to events like this and being able to see the smile on the kids' faces and know that I'm making a difference in their lives. Like, I think that's really what NIL is all about. Yeah.
I think, there is kind of a negative stereotype around it, but there's a lot of good that can happen from it too. And we're all about, giving back and having your platform used as a way to really help more kids be able to play sports and have fun doing so. So it was fun to see you out there today interacting with the kids.
I was going to ask, I brought up the injury. I know this is the dreaded topic, but you had a tough sophomore season, started the season off on a really high note and was going well. Talk a little bit about like the injury and kind of where you're at right now and looking forward to next season, obviously at 100%.
It was definitely unfortunate. We had a really good start to our season, a lot of buzz and hype around our team. But injuries happen, we know that. And knock on wood, I hadn't had really crazy injuries. I had a PCL my senior year of high school, so that kind of set me back a little bit, gave me a little glimpse of what it would be like. And so this one, obviously a clean break, had to get surgery, got a screw in there and all. So just kind of moving forward now and learning how to navigate rehab. And I've seen a lot of teammates do it and deal with that, but it's different when you're in it. It can get tough, but just being able to push through and know that it'll be over eventually, and see the light at the end of the tunnel. But
I was going to ask, is there any advice if another high school, college athlete gets an injury like that where they miss a lot of games? Like, what advice would you give those athletes to kind of push forward?
Yeah, for me, I think a big part of it was just being still present for my teammates and being that voice. I know a lot of them look up to me and want to hear what I have to say. And so I was able to sit right next to the coaches and hear what they had to say and being able to transfer that to my teammates or, pull them aside at timeouts and just because you see things at a whole nother perspective. So I think taking that and then also, taking time for me and really focusing on, lifting and getting stronger right now because that's kind of all I can do.
Right.
So, getting better at that aspect. So when I get back on the floor, I'm only going to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, having those injuries and missing games is tough for not only you but your teammates. And now also wanted to ask if you have any advice for just younger kids, maybe it's even parents that have younger kids that are kind of navigating this whole sports world, and if there's any just advice from your upbringing that you would give to either parents that have kids or maybe younger kids that might.
Kind of what we were talking about, just things are so much different now. With kids getting thrown into AAU so early. I didn't start AAU until 7th grade because I was playing soccer, and that was really late. And now kids are starting at like 3rd, 4th grade. So just honestly taking things slower I think is better. I was watching the Caitlin Clark documentary that just came out, and they were saying how from an early age, in 8th grade when you're getting letters, that her mom just was throwing them out or making sure she didn't see them. And because
she was a soccer player too, just like you.
Yeah, exactly. And just, I think that's a big part of it, just still growing up and being a kid. It's really hard now with everything. NIL is changing everything. AAU, just the whole recruiting, everything's different. So just trying to navigate that, I guess, to the best of their abilities, just having fun with it is all that matters.
Definitely. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, Andrew and I are in our 30s now. We played hockey and some other sports in high school and college, but there was no NIL. There was nothing like that. We just got to play, and it does seem like a whole different animal. And but you seem like you're doing a great job with it.
Thank you.
And
I try. I got good people in my corner.
Definitely. And that's a huge part of it too, is having good people and good parents that can support you through everything. So
definitely.
We don't want to take up too much of your time, but we do have one last kind of thing that we want to let you know. So what we're kind of doing with a lot of our podcast guests is wanting to find ways to collaborate with you and do other things to give back to the community. So on behalf of the In Sports Foundation, we want to grant $1,010 in honor of your number
awesome.
to a cause. Could be something with Unified with Special Olympics, could be something else, but just something to keep sports growing. And so we thought that would be a fun way to just keep our relationship going too, and help more kids
Thank you.
through playing sports.
That definitely will make an impact.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we look forward to seeing you your junior season. And
thank you. Go Gophers.
Go Gophers.
Get that foot back to 100%, and good luck next season.
Awesome.
Go
Thanks, Mara.
Thank you.